This story right here just kind of popped up on my Instagram story out of nowhere. Like I was just going through and I came across it, and I said I had to talk about it because this is a cautionary tale and more of a warning for anybody who travels outside of the nation. Now, I have done plenty of stories on my channel before about people who go over to these other nations and decide to feel like they're going to do whatever it is that they want to do. And most of the times it's people that come from here in the States. I did a story about, of course, remember Otto Warmbier and how he went over to North Korea and messed with that banner and how they tortured him, and he came back pretty much half near damn dead, and he did end up dying later on. Then you had that Asian guy who went over to the North Sentinel Islands and messed with them people over there, and well, we ain't never see him again. Let's just say his body never got recovered because they ain't about to set foot on that island. But now you have the story of this guy right here, whose name is Tariq Loat, and he's from Delaware, or should I say he was from Delaware. And he went over to Puerto Rico and he decided that he was going to go to one of the local areas and purchase some drugs. I believe they said there was some unsolicited drugs, and then decided to take a picture of the drugs after the people there specifically told him not to take any pictures in that area, and he decided to do it anyway. And what happened next? Well, let's just say he met a fate just like the previous two people I mentioned, but his might have been a little bit worse. Well, I don't know about the Asian guy. They probably ate him. I'm just being honest, or fed him to something. But I'm going to go ahead and get into this and you'll figure out what happened. The burned body of a 24-year-old tourist from Delaware was identified on Tuesday, 3 days after he and a friend were attacked following a drug purchase in San Juan, Puerto Rico. According to Yahoo News, Police Commissioner Antonio Lopez Figueroa said Quadir Loat and a friend purchased unspecified drugs in the La Perla and were trying to take photographs after strictly being warned not to. Authorities said the two men were beaten with several items, including an exercise weight, a piece of wood, and a deep fryer. Now, you got to think, they got beat with some heavy, blunt objects. And that was before, I don't know if the other one was burned, but that was before this guy right here was burned alive. Tariq disappeared and his friend James Jackson managed to run away, but was hospitalized with injuries. Authorities said Tariq's body was found Sunday in the town of Vega Baja, about 20 miles west of San Juan, and was identified by fingerprints. The attackers have not yet been identified. La Perla was once a dangerous slum controlled by a rival drug gang and considered Puerto Rico's biggest distribution point for heroin. But that reputation was largely faded, especially since it was used as the backdrop for the video Despacito, a song released in 2017 by Puerto Rican singers Luis Fonsi and Daddy Yankee. Now, I don't want to sound insensitive here, but I can't feel too bad for this guy. And let me tell you why. You leave from the States to go to Puerto Rico and have a good time, but you decided to go over there and purchase drugs. Number one, that's one red flag right there. Number two, you took pictures in this area where they told you to not take pictures. Don't even pull out your phone. I think based on the comments I was reading, don't even pull out your phone. But you decided to do so anyway. So you basically just was disregarding the rules that they had set in place. And then on top of that, like I said, you was purchasing drugs, so you already was on the wrong foot anyway. That's why I say I can't really feel too bad for that, because that's why I say when you go over to these nations, excuse me, you have to follow their rules. You have to follow their customs. Better yet, before you even book the trip, look up the customs and look up the places that is probably not the best place to go to after a certain time or at any time. That's why when it comes to places like this, they always try to tell the people who are tourists to not leave the resort. If you are staying at a resort, do not leave past the nice little glitz and glamour looking areas. Stay there. That's the reason why they tell you that. Like, look at what happened with what's his name? Ryan Lochte, even though he got treated with kid gloves. Back in 2016 at the Olympics in Rio de Janeiro, Brazil in South America. He and two of his little swim pals decided they were going to gallivant to the local areas in the novella. I think it's called the novella, and wreak havoc. And that became pretty much a worldwide event for a brief week or two. Now, we all know why he got treated with kid gloves, because let's just be real here. His status as a swimmer in the Olympics saved him. Because I truly believe that even his own whiteness wouldn't have saved his ass. But I think because of that, and the reason why I say that is because he had to get extradited back over there for court. Now, he's very lucky that he didn't have to serve any time in them prisons. They managed to pull some strings to get him up out of it. I bet Ryan Lochte wouldn't do it again. But I think after that, he wasn't allowed to, I don't think he was allowed to even come back there. I think they banned him or something like that. But yeah, you just have to be smart. When they say don't do something, they mean just that. Look at that white girl, that white chick. I did a video about a couple months ago who decided that she was from Georgia, decided she was going to go over to some island. I forgot what Caribbean place it was or whatever it was. And she decided that she was going to violate their quarantine in place policy to go see her boyfriend compete in some kind of athletic event. And she just took off her bracelet, her ankle monitor, and left it there and went off there after they said that she was supposed to quarantine. And what happened? She ended up she got locked up and stayed there for like a couple weeks or so. Even her own family begging to then 45 did not help. That was out of his jurisdiction. She eventually got let go, but she was taught a lesson that day. So what I'm saying is, don't go over to these nations thinking that just because you're a quote unquote American that you can do over there what you do here or get away with here. And then on top of that, this is a black man. I don't know what the caste system is like over in Puerto Rico, but from what what I gather, it's not that good. And if they don't let's just put it this way. If they have a caste system in his shade over there is at the bottom of the totem pole, he really set himself up. So all I'm gonna say is this: for those people who are traveling abroad, please, 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 please follow their rules and don't do what this guy did. Like his family, of course, they're going to be upset. They're going to be saddened by this because his family, he got tortured. Like he really got tortured. He got beaten with objects and then burned. And his body was found 20 miles away from where it happened at. And they had to identify him by fingerprints. That's how badly burned, that's how badly his body was, how decayed his body was. Because usually they say when you are badly like that, they can either get you by fingerprints or by dental records. If they got to do one of those two things, that means your body is badly in a bad condition if they can't identify you just by looking at you. So I can imagine how badly his body looked when they discovered him, when they identified him. But all I'm saying is this: if y'all traveling abroad, please follow their rules. Don't go over there thinking you're going to do over there what you can do here. See, that's the thing. That's why they don't like Americans right now, because they say we're too spoiled. And in a way, they have a valid point. Americans as a collective are very spoiled. Some more than others. But that's really all I have for this story right here. Y'all let me know what y'all think about this down in the comments. Like, share, subscribe. If you have not done so already, please text the number that is pinned down in the comments below so you can receive notifications every time I upload a new video or go live.